What is up, you guys? Is it really worth paying that much more money just to have a Ducati? I think you guys know where I'm going with this, but you might be surprised. So tune in, because I think there's a lot of pros and a little bit of cons. Let's just take a minute to soak up the views. What a beautiful bike. I can't get over the headlights. They look so good. And trust me, I know what you guys are expecting out of this video. You know, oh, Ducati's the most amazing motorcycle I've ever had. You need to buy a Ducati, yada yada. Well, yes, this is the best motorcycle I've ever owned. I think there's something to say about buying into this brand. Well, I think there's a ton of appeal to kind of buy into the brand, or however you want to put it. Basically buy any Ducati motorcycle. It comes with a lot of caveats. Well, yes, the brand recognition is pretty much second to none. I mean, you can talk to anybody and they pretty much know what a Ducati consists of. Now, on a basic level, it's a motorcycle. It has two wheels and an engine, and some electronics in this case. Realistically, you could buy pretty much anything with two wheels and an engine that's a motorcycle and have a very similar experience. I'd say buying a Ducati gives you the last 5 to 10% of that experience that's different from, you know, other motorcycles. Now, am I saying that other brands won't give you that? No. I think other brands could give you that, and maybe even more, depending on your taste and what you're into. There's plenty of other motorcycles for far less money that have a ton of character. And I'll tell you right now, from my previous motorcycles I've owned, this one isn't crazy different in terms of the overall experience and the feeling of riding on two wheels. So if you guys just want to get out there, get a bike that you can just enjoy the feeling of, you know, having the wind in your, I guess, helmet, hair, depending on what you're into, or, you know, you're just getting into riding, you just want to experience it, don't go for something like this. That's not worth it. You need to experience something on two wheels that's maybe a bit cheaper, doesn't have as, you know, much maintenance, stuff like that. Get a reliable Japanese smaller CC bike and enjoy it for what it is, because it will give you pretty much the experience that you're looking for when riding. However, like I said, this bike really gives you the next level up on that two-wheeled experience, and that's why I own one. So I guess in short, for the people that have experience riding motorcycles and really want that next level, I think Ducati's worth it. There's a certain level of craftsmanship, precision, experience that you get with these bikes that you don't necessarily get with other ones. But if you're someone that maybe isn't really used to riding motorcycles very often, or hasn't owned many, or any, I don't think that Ducati's going to give you really anything different than buying something else. I feel like if you went straight to one of these, if you can afford it, that's awesome. I mean, I would. But then you're just going to be pampered, and kind of everything else is going to be ruined. I mean, I started from a 1980s Yamaha motorcycle and kind of worked my way up. I'm not saying that that's the proper way to do it, you know, everybody's different, but for me in particular, it really helped me appreciate, once I got to this bike, just how advanced it is and the level of precision that this thing is not only manufactured with, but handles with. You know, it's unbelievable. With nothing to compare, you hop on this, and then honestly, it'll probably ruin a lot of the other bikes for you if you go to ride them. If this is like your first experience, you know what I mean? Sound check. Sounds good. But a lot of my previous brands were not premium. You know, I owned Yamaha's Triumph, was probably the most premium one that I've owned in recent history. And even then, it didn't have the same, I guess, feeling as this does. Now, I will give the Triumph credit. I think that bike handled the best, or at least it felt like it handled the best out of all of my bikes. It really fit me well. I kind of regret selling it, but I do want to get another one at some point, because there's something about a 3-cylinder powertrain on a motorcycle. It was a Speed Triple 1050, and goodness, what an awesome powertrain. Again, not getting rid of this, but in addition to, I would love to have one. So I've had some prior motorcycle experience to kind of base owning a Ducati off of, and other than kind of the exorbitant amount of money on maintenance and various parts and stuff like that, I mean, exhausts alone for this thing are just astronomical compared to even other Italian brands. I mean, Kevin has a newer Tuono V4, and exhaust for that, a slip-on, was like $300-400. This thing, I mean, a simple slip-on, you're looking at least $1,000. That is the cheapest cheapo beepo option. Now, I have the eBay option, but I think I'm one of the only people that has this exhaust, at least that I've seen. So if you have this exhaust too, let me know, so I don't feel completely alone in my choice. But the CS Racing exhaust for this bike is like $1,000. That is like, by and large, the cheapest one that they make that's made for this, other than what I have. And then it goes up from there. I mean, usually around the $2,000 mark is a decent slip-on system, all the way up to $10,000. You know, there's just an added cost with owning these bikes, and that's what this video is about. You know, is it really worth the added cost? And I think you'd be surprised for me to say no, it's not. I don't think it is. There's nothing extra special about this vehicle with 2 wheels and an engine that makes it so different that they have to charge so much more than my old Yamahas or anything else that I've owned. Now, is it a special powertrain bike experience? Absolutely. But I see no reason for them to be charging what they do to do certain things, especially on the aftermarket for parts. Just because, I mean, it's the same thing in the car world. If you guys have seen like GTRs, Lamborghinis, like their exhausts sometimes even have less material than a lot of other cars, but they cost like 4 or 5 times as much, just because they know the owners of those cars paid a lot more money for them. It's this really weird influx of parts that are the same as a lot of other ones, but they're just upcharged because the vehicle they're going on is so much more expensive. And to a point, I get that makes sense, but at what point is that, you know, taking away from something? And maybe that offers the exclusivity that people buy the vehicles for. Maybe that's what I'm missing. You know, that is the whole point, is so that people can remain having something, you know, coveted by other people. Oh my gosh, you paid $10,000 for an exhaust, I wish I could have that, you know, something like that. I don't know. But regardless, I have a base V4. This is probably the cheapest V4 that you can get from Ducati, and I'm perfectly happy with it. But I do not believe that paying extra for a Ducati is really worth the money if you just want to experience riding around on a motorcycle. Now, if you're like me, you've owned 7 different bikes, you want that next step up, that little bit of percentage that sets it apart from other motorcycles, absolutely, I think it's worth it. But I think it's very 50-50 depending on the person who's looking to buy. That being said, I absolutely adore this thing, so of course I'm going to have a lot of pros for it. I'm just trying to keep a level head, looking from the outside in at this scenario, because, you know, you're asking people to fork out a lot of money for these things. I mean, you're talking base level. I think the new base V4 Street Fighter is like $22,000 to $23,000 for something with 2 wheels and an engine. That's insane. There are brand new cars that cost about that have a ton more features on them. But you're paying for the brand, you're paying for that precision, that engineering, the pedigree of the brand. Again, same thing with all this, you know, sports cars out there like Porsche and all the higher end stuff. That is what they build their brand around. So there's part of me that totally understands, but the other half is like, really, why even do that? But I digress. I hope I'm not ranting too much for you guys, but that's kind of what this whole video is about, you know, letting you know my thoughts on owning this and really understanding what you're buying into with that extra cost added to these motorcycles. And the hard part is, you can get a Ducati for decently cheap if you get an older one, but then I feel like you're risking unreliability. And it's not to say that all of them are unreliable in the older days, but I think once they were acquired by VW and they really got their production down pat, their quality control in check, it really change them and turn the company around. Hope you guys are enjoying the night ride. I know it'll be a little dark and the footage might be a little grainy, but such is this time of year. We had our fallback time change from daylight savings, and really ruins the commute home, that's for sure. I mean, you get a little bit of sun at the beginning, which looks beautiful, as you can see in the thumbnail of the video, but man, does that go away really fast. Actually, you can see it behind me too. Beautiful. I don't want to wreck, but it's beautiful. If any of you are like me, you like riding with tinted visors, but the problem is when it gets dark, tinted visors, you can't really see much. So I'm trying to get home before any of that happens. Woo! So I'm going to shut up for a little bit, let you guys kind of enjoy the sights and sounds of this thing. If you guys are enjoying this video or just the ones I've been making lately, feel free to drop a like. Subscribe if this all appeals to you. There's a lot more of this coming and a lot more winter commutes of me struggling with some cold weather, but it's all worth it. This thing is just that next level, like I was talking about. It's just worth the effort of being able to ride and thoroughly enjoy. Lifts the front every chance it gets. Holy crap. Oh, this bike is sick. I'm so back and forth. I want to give you guys such an unbiased opinion on this thing, but after having it for 2 years now, I cannot give you a completely unbiased opinion. I can't. It's just too good. Little bumps just... Woo! Woo! Just rips. Honestly, the only nice part about riding at this time of year, home from work, is that you can actually see headlights coming in the distance and, know when vehicles are going to be there. That part is really nice. Because normally I have no idea around these blind corners if someone's going to be there, if they're aware of me. So, I don't know, the headlights kind of help with that. Wow, it got really cold here all of a sudden. How many of you guys just keep your high beams on at night? I feel like that's kind of the biker thing to do. It's not really worth turning on low beams. You want everybody to be able to see you, right? I hope the footage turns out alright too. I know the GoPro kind of suffers with darker situations, and maybe that'll entice me to switch to like a DJI or something with better low light capabilities. The biased side of me just wants to say absolutely it's worth buying into the Ducati brand. They're next level up. They offer a different pedigree of experience when you're riding. But the other part of me wants to say, as I said at the beginning, it's two wheels and an engine on a frame. Yeah, the frame can be better or it can be worse, or a certain engine can be fun or it won't be fun. But if you just want to go out and ride, it doesn't matter what you're riding. What the? Okay, they're fine. Freaked me out for a second. But it doesn't matter what you're riding. If you want to just get into it, buy a $1,000 motorcycle as long as it's safe for the road. You know what I mean? Just buy that and be happy. This is what makes me happy, but everybody has their different choices. So take what I say with a grain of salt, but I absolutely adore this thing. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing me say that, but I really do. And up. We still got to go get our daily event too, so looking forward to that. All right, here we go. This thing's just too easy. It does it in like, what, 4 seconds or something stupid? And we need gas, because we probably did enough miles to justify getting some. Yep, almost 60 miles. We definitely need some. Which is crazy to think about, but... Alright. 93, as always. Why is it so curly? Someone really twisted this thing up. 2.4 gallons. And 60 miles. Jeez. Low to mid 20 mile per gallon forever. So I know we don't get the beautiful sunset that we normally get over these mountains, at least not this time of year, but I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next one.